Today's project is going to be to turn this Harbor Freight sandblaster and everything else on this table into a vapor blaster. The first step is to put this blast cabinet together so I can start modding it. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's been done a few times, but I will show what I do differently from the directions. With that being said, let's get into a time lapse. Now we'll go into the custom vapor blasting setup. I'm going to work on the air intake first, which I'm going to use this. This is where the original cabinet, you're supposed to hook up the vacuum port. I'm going to switch it to the air inlet port and use the hole over here for the vacuum. The reason I chose this hole for my air intake is because it's smaller than this one, which the original cabinet uses for the intake. And the reason I want to do that is I want to create a negative pressure in here so that the vacuum will actually work and suck the fog out. To cover the hole, I just have a cheap Harbor Freight plastic cover here. I drilled some holes in the bottom. I'm going to mount it something like that. Here's where I'm going to hook up my vacuum. There's a hole about right here behind this. I'm going to block the top off so that it only sucks from the bottom. To do that, I just use the same container, cut a little piece of plastic, and it should slide right across the top. And then I will silicone that in as well. For my vacuum port, I'm going to use this cover that they send and the actual vacuum port. I'm just going to drill a hole, silicone this together, put some screws in it, and push it in there. Well, good bit off center there, but should be able to make it work. I'm sure I could have done a lot better, but it'll do. I got a piece of door weather stripping and screwed it to the bottom part of the door here. So now when the door shuts, there's no gap between the side and this part. And I'll close it and show you what I'm talking about. Here it is with the door shut, and you can see there's the lip right there, and it comes perfectly to it. So hopefully now when I am blasting, nothing's going to drip out of the door when I'm done. I'm going to use this waterproof tape to cover the rest of the door. Here's the door all finished up. Hopefully that Flex Seal won't let me down. I taped it all the way down past the screws here. This is the light that comes with the blast cabinet. If you're going to install that, you can just clip it right in. I'm going to use this light that I got on Amazon. This is waterproof as well. I am going to take the bulkhead fitting from that and put it on my wire. But other than that, I just need to put these two clips in. If you are going to use this light, I think you can take the end off of this, and if you take this paper out, the light will get brighter. I got the bracket mounted up. I ended up using this galvanized angle that I had from, I think, a garage door opener so that the light would face directly down. I don't have it wired in yet. I just want to see how light it is. That should be perfect. And I'll probably go ahead and put some silicone around this as well. I'm going to start setting up my pump. Here it is. I already cut the float switch off. I'm going to wire that to the switch on the cabinet. First, I'm going to screw in my air inlet. This is rubber O-ringed. Next up, I have two reducers to get down to this splitter. Now I have a garden hose splitter. this short piece of hose, I'm going to connect to one side of the splitter, and I'm going to loop it around my pump, and this will be the side that is mixing the media. Okay, here it is all zip tied in. I got my wiring all figured out. For the main power, I did not touch it at all. From the float switch, I spliced in a 2-wire, just regular cable here. I basically cut it and inverted it so I can unplug this pump. And then this is the Harbor Freight switch. I went ahead and added some connectors, and let's test it out. So first, this is, I think, for the illumination of the switch, and then I'll plug the pump in. This is plugged in together. You can see it's illuminating. When I hit the switch, this pump should turn on. There we go. So now I can control the water with this switch on the side. I can also quickly disconnect the pump and take it out when I'm cleaning and switching media. I want to show the final wiring setup here real quick. First, this one is just the illumination for the switch. This wire right here is the wire for the light. I just spliced it in here. I ran that out with this wire, which is the one for the pump. So both of those are coming out of the clamp, and then this one's just going into the back here. I just mounted this surge protector to a piece of wooden block that I screwed from underneath. Here's a closer look. I basically drilled a hole in this and put this clamp here, fished the light wire and the pump wire through it, and clamped it down. I have my light plugged in. I'm going to go ahead and switch it on. Nice bright light. Should be good for what I need to do. And as you can see, I siliconed the hole right there. This is a 10-gallon pail. I put about 5 gallons of water in it. I think I'm going to try to use about that much to start with. I'm going to hook this hose up. This is the one that's going to go through the cabinet. I cut a hole right above the water line. I'm going to install this drain here so I can drain off the excess water. I'm also going to add this short little piece to the drain here so it doesn't drain right on top of my pump. Okay, this is the line coming from the pump. I have a 90 here and then a garden hose bulkhead fitting. On this side I have another small hose that's going to go to the actual blast cabinet gun. Here's what it looks like from above. Now I should be able to hit this switch over here and turn the pump on. Make sure there's no leaks. I think it's time to start working on the air setup now. So I'm going to start by showing you this foot pedal. The setup here is, this is the air inlet, this is the air outlet, and this is also an air outlet. I'm only using one, so I capped this other side. When I hook this up to air and step on the pedal, that's how it works. So this is going to be the first thing in the line. I'm going to hook this pedal up and then we'll go to the regulator after. Here's my regulator setup. I have a quick connect here that goes down to the pedal. Out on this side, I have a shut off. So now when I step on the pedal, you can see I have set it at 60 pounds. And I have the shut off here. So this is where it will go through the cabinet itself. I'll also some footage. So here's the setup for the air regulator. This is the line coming from the foot pedal, the air in. I just mounted this to a little 2x3 block, put some screws from the bottom. I have a shut off here, and then the line here goes into the cabinet. Going through the cabinet, the air line just uses a little grommet, and it's right beside the water line. Inside the cabinet here, this air line connects to a one-way valve to make sure water doesn't come back into the air line. That connects to a garden hose, which goes out to the gun. As you can see, I just zip tied my lines all together, and here's the gun. It's a 3D printed one off Amazon from a guy called Victor Baird. I think this is his 4 or 5 millimeter tip. It just has 2 garden hose connections. The water inlet is this bottom one, and the top directly in line is the air. I installed another garden hose bulkhead fitting here. I'm going to use this to wash down the cabinet and clean the glass. On the inside, I just have a splitter. The first side of the splitter is just a regular garden hose, just maybe 4 feet, and I have a sprayer on the end. I'm going to use that to wash down the cabinet when I'm changing medias. The second side of the splitter goes to this misting head. I got this. Hopefully I can use this to clean the glass off while I'm blasting. You can see it's got like a fan head. I installed the glass the same as the other using the foam and silicone. Instead of the bolts that came with it, I got some 1/4-20 screws and these hand tightened bolts. When I go to change the glass, it should be a lot quicker and easier. You can see on the inside that it's still kind of wavy. I did end up siliconing in here just because I didn't want any leaks. Also for this setup, I just installed the glass and the plexiglass. Glass on the bottom, plexiglass on top. This is an open loop cleaning system, so this water right here connects to my spigot in my garage and then feeds into the washout hose and the window cleaner. They both have water hooked up to them. Now when I turn this on, it should spray the glass. And it does. Here's my washout hose. Everything looks good with that too. Last thing I had to set up was this vacuum. It's a little 2 horsepower. I just got it cheaply on Amazon. I hooked it up to the surge protector. It's got its hose. On the end of this hose, I just put a little adapter, filled it full of silicone, let it dry all night, and I can just plug this right into the back of the cabinet. Here's my hole in the back of the cabinet, my adapter. When I'm ready to start blasting, I just shove it in there. Now I can turn this on. And it's ready for blasting. The last thing that we need to do before we can start testing is to add some media. I'm going to use this glass bead number 10, and I have about 5 gallons of water in here, so I'm going to put 5 cups of this media in to start. Yeah, I put 5 in. I don't think that's going to be enough. I put all 8 pounds in here, and I still don't think it's enough. I severely underestimated. Here's a jar of it that sat. There's just a little on the bottom, maybe 10%, and it should be at least 25% media. So, went to Harbor Freight, got a bunch more glass media. I'm going to keep pouring it in until the ratio's right. I finally got my ratio right. As you can see, There's about 25% mixture in this cup. That took 8 pounds of blast media plus about half of this bucket, so it probably took about 20 pounds to get that and about a little over 5 gallons of water. Here's the first test piece, an old Bayou 250 cylinder. I've already started doing some practice machine work on it. I want to vapor blast it and see if we can't get it looking good. I've already degreased it and everything, but this is kind of what it looks like. Okay, here we go. I'll try to keep this thing cleaned as much as I can. It's probably going to be pretty blurry, but see what happens. Turning out good. I'm really happy with that. Okay, that's at 60 psi. You guys saw the ratio. I'm going to keep going on this, keep practicing. I'm going to do 2 sides and then switch to aluminum oxide. So I'll see you guys when I'm ready to wash down. I'm about halfway done. I've done most of this side and the top, some of the bottom. It's turning out really well. I'm going to go ahead and clean this cabinet out and switch over to aluminum oxide now and see what that does. First thing I'm going to do is take my fresh water and spray down the cabinet. The water's on. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the whole thing and try to use as little water as possible so that I don't have to drain off too much. The cabinet's rinsed out as good as I could get it. Should be fine. Let's go ahead and switch the buckets. Of course, the drain just fell. Should be able to slide it out now though. Oh, that's heavy. I have my pump unplugged. I'm gonna try to lift it up, rinse it off, and put it in the new bucket. Now I'm just going to let this bucket sit. All the glass media will fall to the bottom, and I'll drain this excess water off tomorrow or in a couple hours or something. Oh, that's cold. Got my drain back. I'm going to add the aluminum oxide to it. Here's what I have, some 100 grit. This is 8 pounds here. I'm going to put all of this in and then probably at least half of a 25-pound Harbor Freight one as well. Okay, I got my bucket back in. My drain is on. Gonna go ahead and connect my pump switch and everything should be ready to go. We'll test it out, see what the ratio is. Everything's ready to go with this aluminum oxide. It's just about the same 25% ratio, maybe a little less, 60 psi. We'll see how it cleans up. The aluminum oxide is working good. I'm going to keep on working with it and we'll see what the final product looks like. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think I like the finish of the glass bead more than the aluminum oxide, but I think the aluminum oxide might clean a little better. Overall, very happy with the finish of it. It was easy. My compressor did not work very hard doing this. This is definitely the best way to clean inside the fins here. I don't think I've seen a better job done with anything else. Here's one last look around it. Up here we just have the vacuum hookup. Down below I have the vacuum, the gray for my aluminum oxide, the white for my glass bead. On this side I have the air inlet and the pump on-off switch. This is also where my electrical wire for my light comes through. Down here I have my surge protector where I plug everything in. Here's my two buckets from the front. I have these drains. Once all the media drains to the bottom, I'll drain the excess water off the top. Here's my air regulator one more time. I set this on about 60 psi. There's my drain and my foot pedal. This door ended up working really well. It's Flex Seal, and then on the bottom is just some door weather stripping. Inside the cabinet on the right, I have the sprayer that I use to clean the glass, and then my washout hose. Here's the gun, the air and the water, hookups on the outside. That's going to do it for today's video. I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. Definitely going to get a lot of use out of it with my restoration projects. Let me know if you guys have any questions. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.